Have you ever lived that silent moment right after sex, when he simply pulls you close, kisses you with your eyes closed and doesn't say one word? It sounds simple, but according to Deborah Tannen, one of the greatest experts in language and emotional communication between men and women, this gesture carries a weight that many ignore, because contrary to what they have taught you, man's true discourse is not always in words, but in the way he acts when he is not trying to impress you. This kiss after sex, especially when there is no hurry, when he holds you delicately and closes his eyes as if protecting a secret, is a revealing sign. It's not just affection, it's not just desire, it's his unconscious way to create emotional connection, to seal something he still doesn't know how to name, but who is already feeling. And that's where many women get confused, thinking that this affection is common or mechanical, when in fact it is a silent language of attachment. Deborah Tannen reminds us, men often express vulnerability with subtle gestures because for them, saying with the body is safer than exposing with words. It is at this moment that his heart reveals himself before his mind. He may not even say he is clinging. You can pretend indifference to messages and maintain a rational stance at other times. But that kiss, the way he prolongs the touch, how she watches you in silence right after, reveals the internal conflict between what he feels and what he tries to hide. According to Tannen, these moments post-intimate are windows to see the real emotional state of a man, without social masks and without the filter of reason. And if you know how to listen to this gesture, if you have sensitivity to understand that his kiss after sex is more than pleasure, it's connection, it's delivery, it's fear of losing something he's still finding out, you begin to realize that this man has already been crossed by something deeper. It doesn't matter if he doesn't admit it yet, rationalizes, or pretends control. His body has already begun to say yes while his mind is still trying to resist. This kind of kiss is different. It comes with a comfortable silence, with a touch that slows down time. That's when he doesn't want to leave soon, when he doesn't take his cell phone, when his breathing calms along with his. Deborah Tannen invites us to see these moments as the true language of male affection, because when a man feels emotionally safe, he communicates not well thought out, but with gestures that escape his own control. So the next time he kisses you like this, in the dark of dawn, after delivering completely, don't ignore. This kiss says more than any "I love you" said from the mouth out. He may be proof that his heart is more involved than he himself has the courage to admit. And now, you know how to hear it. Because true love does not speak loudly. He whispers in the silence of the details. The secret language of the male touch. When a man kisses you after sex smoothly, without haste, his eyes still closed, he's talking. Yes, he is communicating something that may not even know how to translate into words, but that is real and deep. Deborah Tannen reminds us that for men, touch often replaces dialogue, especially in intimate moments where emotion is on the flower. This kiss carries more meanings than any conversation after a romantic dinner. What he has no courage to say with his mouth, he delivers with his lips. This behavior reveals what Tannen calls the language of silent involvement. That's when the man begins to lower the defenses, not rationally, but instinctively. In the post-sex heat, it connects with an emotional part that usually keeps hidden even of itself. And when he kisses you like this, it's not just about desire. It is about warmth, about permanence, about wanting to maintain something more than physical. It is in this gesture that his body assumes the front of the mind. Many men were socialized so as not to talk about feelings, to look strong, distant, self-sufficient. But no one escapes the need for affection. And when he kisses you after sex tender, as if he wanted to prolong that moment forever, he is his unconscious saying, "You're messing with me in a different way." Even if he doesn't know how to deal with it consciously, the gesture reveals everything. Deborah Tannen teaches us that female communication is often verbal and explanatory. Male communication, especially in times of emotional intimacy, is more implicit, contained, made of gestures. This mismatch generates confusion. The woman wants to hear, the man wants to feel, So when you expect words and get a deep kiss, don't think he's dodging. He may actually be opening the only way he knows. It has lived this, you felt this kind of kiss and wondered what it really means. So this channel was created with a purpose, helping you decipher the male heart without falling into the traps of emotional indifference. Subscribe now, because here you will learn how to interpret the signs that he will never confess to you. But they say exactly what he feels, when his silence speaks louder than 1,000 words. There are moments after sex in which everything seems suspended. The room still holds the heat of the bodies, but what really matters is what is not said. You watch him silently, hoping perhaps some beautiful phrase, some verbal confirmation, but he remains there, quiet, until he kisses you again. But this kiss does not have the same haste as the former. He is slow, full of pause, and looks more about connection than horny. For Deborah Tannen, this is one of the biggest signs of male emotional involvement, silence filled by effective gestures. It is in these moments that he shows you what cannot yet confess to himself. Male body language, according to Tannen, has its own codes, and his silence is not empty. It is full of meanings. If he doesn't let you go right after sex, be affectionate instead of just turning to the side. If he looks at you as if trying to memorize that moment. So you're dealing with someone who is emotionally played, and that doesn't happen to anyone. Many women get stuck in the mistake of waiting for rehearsed statements or obvious attitudes. But men, when they are really falling in love, conflict between the desire to protect themselves and the urge to surrender. Therefore, the signs are almost always indirect. Tannen explains that at these times he may not say, "I love you," but his body has already begun to live as if he loved it. The language changes. The touch changes. Even the way it breathes close to you seems to say, "Stay." You realize that he is quiet but not distant. He keeps watching you as who tries to understand what you are feeling. Sometimes I smiled for no reason or sighs as one just lost an internal battle. And in a way, it really lost. Because there, in that kiss without words, in that touch after the end, he is already being dominated by emotion, even if he is still struggling to maintain control. Now tell me, have you felt that? Have you ever lived this kind of kiss that made you confused, but at the same time safe? There was something else? Share with me in the comments. Write like this: "I already felt this kiss after sex, and now everything makes sense." Or, if you haven't lived yet, say, "I want to feel that kind of kiss one day." Your comment can play other women who are going through it and strengthen this community of women who are learning to listen with the heart. His internal conflict, desire, fear, and delivery. When a man kisses you after sex as if trying to prolong a moment he doesn't want to lose, it's because inside there is something happening, and that something is often a conflict that he can't name. Deborah Tannen explains that men often deal with deep feelings in a fragmented way. Sometimes they give in to affection, sometimes they retreat in fear of losing control. The after-sex kiss, in this case, becomes a reflection of this internal battle between wanting and fear. This is why he can be involved with tenderness in an instant, and in the following distant or rational look. It's not cold, it's self-defense. The kiss after the sex that comes with silence, affection, or fixed look is often the height of emotional delivery that he is not yet ready to confess aloud. He feels, but he doesn't want to seem vulnerable. He clings to, but fear seems weak. And you, in all this, feel that there is more there than he admits. And it's right. This kind of behavior is not confusion. It is language, and a language that needs to be deciphered with sensitivity. For Tannen, men express vulnerability differently from women. While many of us verbalize what they feel, they signal through gestures, absences, subtle repetitions, and a long kiss after sex can mean what he would never say at dinner. "I'm caring more than I planned." But beware, post-sex kiss is not always an attachment code. Sometimes it's just an automatic gesture. The secret is to observe the context, the look, the frequency, his whole body. Does it pull you close or keep distance? Does he kiss you as part of a ritual or how to dive into you again? More depth. Deborah Tannen reminds us that the most honest communication is one that escapes rational control, and these little details say it all. If you have learned to identify these nuances, you begin to see the invisible game of intimacy, because there, in that silent gesture, he may be saying more about what he feels than in all the messages of the next day. And if you learn to listen with your eyes and hearts, you will stop doubting what is real, even when it still tries to hide, when the kiss becomes emotional refuge. There are men who, after sex, simply see each other and sleep, but there are others who get closer, that pull you to your chest, who kiss you on the forehead, on the shoulder, in the corner of your mouth, as if that moment was the last chance to keep you close. Deborah Tannen teaches us that for many men, the prolonged touch is a way to rescue the emotional security they will never ask with words. And this kiss after sex becomes refuge, not only for you, but for him too. It is at this moment that he begins to lower his guard. He stops acting like the man who needs to show strength all the time, and shows you a side that maybe no one knows. Tannen calls this invisible relational communication, the one that happens in the repeated gestures, in the cuddle without reason, in the kiss that does not seek response, only presence. When he kisses you like this, he's trying to say, stay, even if I don't say. This kind of kiss is a port, a place where he feels he can relax, even if his mind remains confusing. And that's where you need to understand. The post-sex kiss is not always just about affection, it is often about belonging. He is not just saying goodbye to the moment, he is trying to build a place where he feels he can come back. And that, for an emotionally reserved man, is much stronger than a "I like you" said casually. If you feel that this kiss is different, that it comes loaded with silence, care, and permanence, do not ignore. It is possible that this man is saying, with the touch, that he began to see you as something larger than an adventure. But out of fear, pride, or insecurity, you still don't know how to verbalize it. Tannen states, men often express their deepest emotions not when they are talking, but when they are trying to shut up. Now, with a more awake heart, tell me, have you noticed this kind of silent delivery? Have you ever felt that he was more delivered than he admitted? Share with me here in the comments, writing, he didn't say anything, but that kiss said everything. Or, if you are still learning to see it, write, now I understand what that kiss really meant. Your story may be exactly what another woman needs to read today. The kiss as a shield and confession at the same time. Not every man who kisses you after sex is ready to declare himself, but is almost always trying not to get lost from himself. The kiss at that moment can be a shield, an unconscious way to keep control, but it can also be a silent confession, a sign that he feels more than he should. Deborah Tannen explains that men, when they come into contact with deep emotions, tend to act ambiguously. They approach and move away at the same time, and that's where the kiss reveals everything. Not what he wants to show, but what he tries to hide. Have you noticed that some men, kissing after sex, close their eyes tightly, as if they wanted to contain something inside themselves? This is because the kiss, at these times, becomes a safe space where they can feel without having to explain. Tannen describes this gesture as a containing intimacy language, an expression that does not require response, but seeks true connection. He kisses you not because he's sure he feels, but because he needs to feel something that keeps him there. Physical intimacy creates emotional shortcuts, and when he allows himself to feel this link, even if only for seconds, something inside it transforms. The man who kisses genuinely after sex, with delivery and presence, is often trying to understand why what was just desire is now moving with his certainties. He feels a veiled fear of losing, to get hurt, to surrender too much. But he is still there, kissing, playing, getting. This behavior for many women is confusing. They expect words, promises, certainties. But Tannen warns us The gestures that most reveal male attachment are precisely those who come without script. The kiss after sex does not follow a script. It happens when instinct speaks louder than logic, and it is in this scenario that you need to learn to trust what he says, and more what he does when he thinks no one is paying attention. So if you have already felt insecure after an intimate moment, wondered if that kiss had value, or if it was just a habit, now you start to understand that he was talking to his body because he still didn't know how to say with his mouth. And this kind of man, which kisses in silence, is often what feels more than it is ready to admit. When the kiss says it all, and you finally understand. The truth is that many men learn to hide what they feel, not because they don't feel, but because they were to fear the exhibition. Deborah Tannen explains that male language, especially in intimate relationships, was conditioned to avoid vulnerability. Therefore, the kiss after sex becomes more than a gesture. It becomes a silent battlefield between the instinct to protect itself and the desire to surrender. And when he chooses to kiss you, even silent, he's letting out what he can't control anymore. It is no exaggeration to say that this kiss can reveal his heart even before he realizes. Because the body speaks first. Speak when he hugs you without haste, when he sighs against his skin, when his eyes seek you in the dark of the room. This is where the bond begins to form. Tannen shows us that instead of seeking immediate statements, it is necessary to pay attention to repeated attitudes, especially those that occur in the most intimate moments, when no one is looking, when no image needs to be sustained. And maybe now you understand why that kiss marked you so much. Why did you remember him days later? Why did you feel there was something there, even without any word said? Because it was. Because at that moment he was being true, even without knowing what to do with his own truth. And when a man arrives at this point of unconscious sincerity, the connection has begun. The question is, did you know how to listen? This video was made for you who already felt it, but was blamed for playing too much. For you who thought it was exaggeration, that it was a needy. But it wasn't. It was intuition. It was his sensitivity capturing something real that he still didn't have the courage to admit. And now, clearly, you can rely more on your perception. You can stop sabotaging yourself to silence because you see with the heart, and that is a gift. If this message has played something inside you, then don't let this connection die here. Subscribe to the channel right now, because here you will find the keys to decipher what no one has taught you, the invisible language of male love. And if you believe other women also deserve to understand what that kiss really means, share this video, because a simple gesture can change everything when we finally know how to hear. We have come to the end of this silent but transformative dive on the language that men use when they say nothing but show everything. The kiss after sex may seem a simple, even common gesture, but now, with everything that has been revealed, you understand that it can be a faithful mirror of what his heart is trying to hide. Deborah Tannen has taught us that emotional communication is not limited to words. It hides in the most subtle gestures, in the pause between the touches, in meaningful silence. How many times have you doubted yourself for feeling too much, reading too much in his eyes, for thinking he was exaggerating? And now you realize that you were actually seeing what he himself couldn't see. This kind of perception is not weakness. It is strength. It is refined sensitivity. It is the ability to hear what many ignore. And if you have gotten here, it is because you are ready to trust what you feel more and less what they say to doubt. The after-sex kiss can be a hiding place for his fear, but it may also be the beginning of the revelation of an unattended love. When a man allows himself to stay, when he kisses you slowly even without saying anything, he is confessing, even if in silence, that what you live has already moved with him. And when you learn to see it, it has the power to decide consciously. Is he approaching or just repeating himself? You now carry this knowledge, and with it you can choose better, protect yourself more clearly, and surrender only when it is reciprocal. May this video have been a reminder that your heart has your own intelligence, and that he often realizes signs that reason still tries to ignore. Honor this, listen to that, and never doubt your sensitivity, because it is your greatest ally. If this content has touched you in any way, take the opportunity to subscribe now on the channel. Here, each video is made for women like you, who are tired of getting lost trying to understand men who hide after excuses, who want to become emotionally stronger and conscious. Like this video, share with a friend and leave your comment. It helps this message reach other women who, like you, deserve to live a real story. Tiet Zamos, if you got here, congratulations. This shows that you really value yourself and are willing to better understand male behavior so as not to fall into the same emotional traps. I want to invite you to leave a comment by saying, I watched until the end, so I can get to know you better and know who is really committed to strengthening yourself emotionally and build healthier relationships. And of course, check now if you are already subscribed to the channel. If you are not yet, click the subscribe button so as not to lose the next content that will open your eyes even more. If this video helped you, leave your like so that more women also receive this message, and share it with a friend who deserves to break free from relationships that only suck your energy and attention. Most women only realize that they are attached to a destructive emotional cycle when they are already emotionally exhausted. In the first comment said, I left the link to a complete playlist with content that can open your eyes before it happens to you. Watch now. We will meet in the next video.